France and Wales get the Six Nations underway on Friday night. My name is Mark. Let's talk rugby. It's getting exciting now. We're not too far away from the actual kickoff tomorrow night, and it's an interesting curtain raiser. There's a lot of people talking about potential record scores and stuff like that. I hope it's not. Honestly, I hope it's a decent game. A good watch for the neutrals. But what we're going to do in this one is we're going to quickly go down through where it is, etc. Last year's results, that kind of stuff. Then look at each of the teams, and finally then give you my thoughts on how I think the game is going to go. So it's France versus Wales. It's on Friday the 31st of January 2025. It's in the Stade de France, and it's an 8:15 kickoff if you're in Ireland or the UK. I think that's 10:15 in South Africa. Last year, Wales 24, France 45. And, France looking pretty good in that one. And, France are kind of up and down in the tournament last year. They had a draw against Italy, beaten well by Ireland as well. And this is probably, their best performance, I'd say, of the tournament in terms of, putting up a score. Then, before the last time they played in Paris in this competition is France 41, Wales 28. So fairly similar scoreline, like a little bit closer, about a score closer than the previous time. But still France, well in charge. And if we get anything like that, because that game, was ding-dong for a little bit, and there was plenty of tries from both teams as well. That'll be a decent, certainly curtain raiser for the tournament. The odds then, France 33-1 on, and Wales 30-1, complete outsiders, and the draw then 100-1 for that. So maybe if Wales pull off a win, there'll be some very lucky Welsh guys who had maybe a tenner on it or something for them to win, or a little bit more even, and that'd be a nice prize for them. But the bookies won't. I don't think bookies will care, because the bookies never lose, right? But those are kind of the details of the game. We're now going to have a look at the teams. So we're going to start with the French team, and so French team are going from 1 to 15. So we got Jean-Baptiste Gros, and then Beato Mauvaka and Unia Antonio in the front row. So, pretty strong front row. They've got, such depth in the front row anyway, that almost anyone that they're going to pick, even when they have injuries and stuff, it's still going to be, a real test for any front row in this tournament. The second row then, you got Alexandra Rouma and Emmanuel Miafu. So Miafu, I think, has been in really good form. This season, it's a change up from kind of the second row pairing that we've seen in recent years for them as well. But still, again, France, the depth they have is frightening in terms of just the quality that they can put out. You think, okay, this guy's out and this guy's out, then, they won't have many good players. And then you just look at the team and go, oh, yeah, that guy. And that's the way it is with them as well. Then we have the back row, Francois Cros, Paul Bonahay, and Gregory Aldrit. So, class in that back row as well. Aldrit having really good season so far. And just super competitive back row there. And it's going to be tough again for Wales to compete with those guys. Wales in their pomp used to have, tons of really good back row options. Now they've got some decent players, but those good, like the Welsh guys, are going to have to really step up the game, I think, to match this back row. Not saying they can't do it, it's just that it's going to have to be something special for them. Then talk about something special, halfbacks. Antoine Dupont, best player in the world for me. And then beside him, Romain and Ntamack. These two guys back this year. Ntamack's been injured for a while. Dupont was at the preparing for the Olympics, should I say, and missed last year's terms as well. So having those two guys back in, such a boost for their team, and just adds even more quality to what they have there. It's like putting the cherry on top of the cake, really. And then rest of the back line, left wing, Louis Biarri. This guy, the last couple of years, he's kind of come onto the scene and really shown what he's about. But this season, he's even going to new heights as well. Then we have centres, Yoram Mofana and Pierre-Louis Baresi. So even though they have injuries in the centres, the likes of Fiku, etc., not available still, quality players in there. Then you have Tio Atasogbe, on the right wing there. Pinot there, which given his try scoring feats lately is a good thing for Wales, certainly, but still, again, you lose quality, replace him with quality. And then fullback Tomo Ramos, who was had a spell at 10 there with no Ntamack about as well. So another playmaker in there, and yeah, such a strong team that they have, and threats all over. You'd look at that. First of all, the front row, and you think, yeah, scrum is going to be good. Then you look at the rest of the pack, you think overall, I think set piece is going to be good. They're going to be competitive at the breakdown as well. They're going to carry hard. And then you look at the backs and you think if the front eight, create any sniff of space, then that back line is absolutely going to exploit it. And if they're not creating the space, then the likes of Dupont, Ntamack, Ramo, etc., Biel-Baeri can make their own space anyway. So it really is a frightening prospect looking at that team. And then there's the bench to come as well. You got Julian Marchand, Cyril Bay, George Henri Colombe. Again, like just such a strong bench to come off. Like you got somebody like Uni Antonio, and he goes trundling off. You think, oh well, that massive guy is gone. And then Colombe comes on. You think, oh yeah, they have another one. And then brilliant players as well, like the likes of Bay and Marchand coming off the bench. Just there's going to be no let up. And then you have Hugo Aradou, then Mikhail Guillard, Oscar Jegu, and then you got to me at least more familiar name, Nolan Lagaric, and Emmeline Galaton. Galaton also, he's another one that's had a fantastic season. Like, when he gets on, keep an eye out for him. And then, Lagaric, only the fact that Anton Dupont exists, is he not already a class test 9, starting test 9. It's just the fact that Dupont is just so special. But yeah, an amazing team, amazing strength in that team as well. And yeah, you honestly looking at it, you're thinking, geez, I don't want to be France. And now, I know I've already tipped France as my favourites for the tournament, but looking at this team just reminds me why I have done that. But let's not despair for Wales. Let's have a look at their team. So again, starting with the front row, you got Gareth Thomas, Evan Lloyd, and Henry Thomas in there. So it's you look at it like Gareth Thomas. He's a decent servant, I think, for Wales. Evan Lloyd's had a decent season so far, but you're looking at that front row compared to the French one. and you think, okay, they're really going to have to step up to compete. But that's kind of the mantra, I think, for Wales is they got to stand up, they got to step up, they got to deliver for the country. To end that losing streak. They're on a 12-test losing streak. Everyone's expecting it to be extended in Paris on Friday, and for that not to happen, these guys really do have to, produce a performance that we haven't seen from them in over a year, as a team. So, but second row, then you got Will Rowlands and David Jenkins. Decent second row in there. Could potentially, disrupt that French lineout as well. And maybe get some little wins for Wales. And that's really what you got to be looking at, I think, if you're Wales in this game, is getting those little wins, frustrate France a little bit, and just kind of get to the point where, the whole idea of record scores and stuff like that, people think, oh, maybe this is actually going to be a contest, it's going to be a game. And if they can do that, then they're at least giving themselves a chance, which nobody's given them before the game. So they'll be doing fairly well if they can do that. Then the back row, got James Botham, Jack Morgan, who's the captain, and Aaron Wainwright there as well. So, you look at those players, and again, they're decent players individually. It's just you're wondering in terms of as a back row unit how they're going to go, because Wales have been kind of churning through the players, trying to find combinations that work. And, I think Jack Morgan, Wainwright, decent carrier. He's got to get them, go forward ball, because if he can't do that, then they really are going to be a little bit stuck. You think on their attack, the fact that, basically on the eve of the tournament, they've let their attack coach go, and now Rob Howley has taken over instead. So whatever you think of Howley as an attack coach, he hasn't had that much time. I know he's been in there as a skills coach, but he hasn't been running the attack for that long to actually get something in place for this game as well. So that's going to be tough for them. So I think it's even more important that the likes of Wainwright, can carry strongly into contact, make meters after contact as well, and just get his team on the front foot. You expect Morgan to be kind of a poaching threat as well for them, and they really do have to, attack France at the breakdown and try and slow that ball down. If they kind of sit off and just say to France, "Come at us," then France will absolutely love that, and Wales might hold out for a while, but France will find gaps, they'll find space, and they're going to get scores. So I think it's very important for Wales to threaten them at the breakdown, disrupt their breakdown as much as they can, trying to break that rhythm, and trying to frustrate them as much as they can. Into the backs, then you got Tomas Williams and Ben Thomas there at 10. So 9 and 10 for Wales, it's just been like a carousel, rotating all the time, and Gatland hasn't decided who his 9 is or who his 10 is. Thomas Williams, for me, really good player. Hope he goes well, but 10, it's been, you could see by the end of this tournament, if things aren't going well, that maybe there will have been, 3 or 4 players will have gotten a go at 10 for Wales by the end of it, and we may still not be much the wiser in terms of who's actually going to be their starting 10 going forward. But if they do well in this one, maybe Thomas gets retained and he gets to kind of settle in a little bit at 10 there. So it's going to be a strange one there. A familiar face, at least in the back line. You got Josh Adams there, on the wing. In terms of kind of wing options with injuries and stuff, not a lot for them to choose from in terms of the players who've done well previously in the tournament. And you would think it's kind of Josh Adams for Wales playing on the wing is similar, I think, to Cian Healy getting into the Ireland onto the bench for Ireland, is that that's kind of a measure of, the competition for the place. If like Josh Adams, I'm not kind of, I'm not talking him down as a player. It's just that, at the moment you'd want to see kind of the newer, younger generation trying to come through and force their way into the team. And it's the same with Ireland with Cian Healy as well. Cian Healy, fantastic servant for Ireland for so long. But yeah, I'd rather see us bring in another loose head instead. But then centres again, it's Owen Watkin and Nick Tompkins, and this is a pairing, or like a combination that may change again through the tournament. We've seen a lot of rotation, trying to find a 12-13 combination that actually works for them. And you might even see, like next game, you might even see two completely different people in there, depending on how things go. Right wing, then we got Tom Rogers, and then the evergreen Liam Williams at fullback there as well. So there's still plenty of experience through that team there. It's not as inexperienced and young as maybe Gatland has been making out. On the bench, there are a lot of kind of younger players there though. And we look at the bench, then you got Elliot D, Nicky Smith, Kieran Azarati, Freddie Thomas, Tommy Raffel, Roger Williams, Dan Edwards, who's uncapped, and then Blair Murray. So there's lots of kind of like Blair. Also, just a word on Blair Murray. He's had a fantastic season as well. I think he's someone who's genuinely going to give them impact off that bench. The rest of them, it might be like Tommy Raffel, you would expect would too. And then the rest, it might be, have something to do with where's the game at that stage. Is it already won, or lost? Probably, unfortunately, in Wales's case, and what kind of impact are they going to have when they come on? So, yeah, like it's a tough task for these guys, and I don't envy them, honestly, going against that French team. But it's also an opportunity for them as well, to get some pride back into the jersey, and at least put in a performance. And give themselves something to build on. I think Wales's aim, honestly, for the moment at least, for this Six Nations, should be just to win a game. And if they can get that, and if a decent performance in this game, albeit a loss, gets them to that, then it won't be kind of the disaster that people are predicting already that it's going to be. But how do I think the game is going to go? Well, I do think France are going to win. We'll just start with that. But I think Wales are going to set out to try and frustrate them early on, and you might see maybe France not opening them up maybe in the first half, unless if there's some turnover ball. I think the French are the best team in the Northern Hemisphere on turnover ball, and if they get that, you could see them getting the scores in, even if they haven't been creating space otherwise. But ultimately, I think France are gonna win, and it's gonna be by probably more than a couple of scores. It's probably going to be maybe 15 to 20 points win. But I hope it's not going to be what's the record score? Like, that's what people are doing, right? That Wales have ever lost by in the Six Nations. I hope we're not getting into that kind of level at all there. I want to see, a somewhat competitive game at least, and I want to see both teams playing well, and, probably enjoying the skills of France, but hopefully at least seeing some good things from Wales as well, so it's not all doom gloom for them. But that's the end of this preview. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments.